Hello and welcome back to Make Your Good Business Great. Today I'm with Philip Bennett from Predominus Marketing. He looks after businesses in all sorts of ways, but primarily he looks at your business at its starting point, at point A, looks at where you want to be and fills the gaps in which you need to get there. He's got lots of great wisdom for us today, and without further ado, welcome Philip.
Thank you, Kim. It's a pleasure to be here. I look forward to our conversation, and more than that, I look forward to hearing from the audience to find out if they've gained any value from this series that you're producing and the wisdoms that you're sharing and the results that we're hoping that our clients get. I mean, that's really what motivates us to take the time to do this, is really helping people go from where they are to getting them to where they want to be. And sometimes they don't realize that they need our help, but every great person I've ever talked to has always said that the reason they have accomplished what they've accomplished is because somebody else helped them get there. And I believe it. It's absolutely true. It's not, while it sounds self-serving, the facts are what they are.
Well, it is like we can only see what we can see, isn't it? And sometimes
Absolutely.
we do need someone else to come in and see what they see and provide us with some tips and advice to get to that next step.
Yep, I call it just putting on a new set of glasses and changing our point of view. And it often does take a different perspective to help us see through the things that we may not see or be able to see through.
Yeah, absolutely. So given that, why don't you tell us more about yourself, your business, and the clients that you generally work with? And I'll even throw in another question, what you find their biggest challenges are.
Okay, so I think that businesses live in generally one of three different places or a combination of these places at the same time. So startup, turnaround, or growth. And you can be a growth-oriented company but still are in a startup mindset. Many SMB, small to mid-sized businesses, are built on a personality, an individual, their drive, their ability to drive their business. And that really is only scalable to the amount of time and energy that they can bring to the job every day.
Yep.
So in that mindset, our clients fall in any one of those categories, but often we're taking a growth-oriented company all the way back to the beginning to help identify systems and processes that they're already doing and may not have formalized. So I think you're going to ask some questions about my document, automate, and grow process, and really that's where a lot of that comes from.
Yeah.
But primarily, we're a client acquisition company. So we focus on client acquisition, conversion, and then creating lifetime value. And those three also can be considered as like before, during, and after the sale. And we think that everything falls into, those three areas, just like your business is in one of three areas. So an example might be we use direct response marketing to attract client acquisition, and then we move them into a conversion either through using social proof or direct response marketing strategies. But there, in that place, we teach our clients how to deliver experiences. And when you deliver experiences that go beyond the expectations of your clients, you then create raving fans. And then you create the lifetime value by selling them additional services, increasing the frequency that they do business with you. But most importantly, it's the referral business that you're after. So it's really client acquisition, converting them through a funnel into lifetime value that's based on referrals and delivering experiences. And we do that every day with our clients, whether it's a startup company in San Francisco or a roofing company here in Boise or a chiropractor in Washington, D.C. The processes and the formulations that we use are interchangeable no matter what industry you're in. It's just a matter of identifying what you want your business to create for you based on what you want your life to look like, and then using the tools to be able to get you to what we call freedom, freedom. So hopefully that was helpful.
Wonderful. Well, we're all after a bit more freedom, I think, Philip, for sure, especially with our businesses. And so what do you think are the biggest challenges, or what do you see are common challenges that companies come to you with?
While everybody has their own problem or their own complexities,
Yeah.
they all do sort of fall into the same bucket, which is they get to a place where they no longer are functioning at a level that's allowing their business to continue to grow. When I call that a roadblock of complexity, whether that's finances or human resources or, any of those blocking and tackling things that come into a business, they just don't know how to get from where they are to where they want to be because this complexity of some sort comes into their business. And I find the biggest challenges is people feel like they've built their business or they're going to build their business. People are looking to them for the answers. And we just have a hard time raising our hand and saying, I need help.
Yeah.
It's something about that ego mind, that ego pride, that keeps us stuck from asking for help when we need it.
Yeah.
And part of the reason, besides ourselves that get in the way, it's because entrepreneurs, small business people have been overpromised, underdelivered on results from everything from social media to content creation to website development to the ad campaign in the local newspaper or a coupon mailer, whatever. And there's just no trust in the space anymore. I mean, I think of, in the marketing, coaching, ad world, it has as much disparity as the counseling psychologist world does. There's just a million people doing it, but who's really doing it in such a way that will work?
Yeah.
And that's our biggest challenge internally, going from an early adopter into a conversion is building that trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that doesn't matter
so
whether you're a startup or whether you're established. I know you're talking about, people who can help business owners, but whether, in any space, that doesn't matter whether you're a startup or whether you're established, gaining trust of your clients.
absolutely. Yeah, it's sort of universal. I have a mentor of mine, runs very large, actually he sold it about 3 years ago, but a very large, like $100 million experiential training program for exceptional children. So a very niched, problem that he was solving. He was speaking to a very small audience, but grew a $100 million company. And I don't remember where I was going.
Well, he was a mentor. I think you were going to tell us something, a little story.
Yeah, I was going to share one of his. What were we talking about before that? It's been a long day.
We were talking. Yes, it has. We were talking about, doesn't matter whether you're in the beginning and as a startup or in the middle, and gaining trust so that you can.
Oh yeah, yes, Richard Rossi. So he says, and will share, that everybody's walking around all day long with this question looping around in their mind: who can I trust? Who can I trust to buy my car from? Who can I trust to be the babysitter? Who can I trust to hire? It's a never-ending game of just trust. And I think that, for us as advocates for entrepreneurs and small businesses, we have to cross that bridge, but also our clients have to cross that bridge. They have to establish trust within their network, within their database, and within their prospects. And there are ways to do it.
Yeah. So can you talk us through a couple of those ways, because that's something that we all need to close the gap on, really.
Sure. So, I mean, the biggest thing for me has always been social proof. Yeah. I mean, it's not about what you say about yourself, it's what other people are saying about it. I mean, we met the first time last week and talked, and the thing I ended with is, hey, if I created any value or made any mistakes that can help me to be better, will you write something for me? And I do that all the time. It's not about just having the ability to share what value I'm creating with the people I'm working with, but it's also the value for me to help to communicate that better. Because that's what allows me to grow and be better. And so social proof is a big one. And then the other one is educational based. To go from being an annoying pest to a welcome guest, you have to get the price equation out of your customer's mind. You have to get the lack of trust out of their mind. And the way you do that is you inform them on what it is that they're buying or whatever it is the problem that they're solving. So through education, you become, and when I do a lot of work with sales training, right? So, how do you go from having a salesman's mindset to being a consultant? And the way you make that switch in your client's mind is you educate them and you elevate yourself into being a consultant and not just a salesperson. Nothing wrong with selling. The world revolves on it. But it's that mindset that you want to separate yourself.
Yeah.
And so when you do that by educating your clients and delivering them experiences beyond what they expect, you'll create lifetime value, prices. I mean, when you get a referral, the first thing out of the client's mouth is not how much does it cost. When somebody calls me and says, how much do you charge? I go, you probably have called the wrong phone number. Because I don't sell on price. If you sell on price, you lose on price. I sell on the experience that I deliver to my clients. And if you are not willing to pay for that, then it's probably not a good fit. And not to mention, we produce so much free stuff. You know, people can read the books or the blogs or the newsletter. And if they're savvy and want to work hard, you know, to learn and not get the secrets and all the shortcuts, you know, then you can do it the slow way. But people that are serious are willing to pay for the results that they're going to get.
Yes, and whether that's in health, business, or getting an extension on their house.
Yeah, whether it's a home service, professional service, and it's people get so complex in their mind, but I'm a chiropractor and I'm sitting in a room with a carpet cleaner. But you have the same problems, you know.
Yeah.
It's client acquisition, delivering experience and creating lifetime value out of it, and then automating it so that you can duplicate it as many times as you can.
Which is a perfect segue into your acronym DAG. Tell us about being DAGs.
Yeah, so, you know, I run a lot of business and I work with a lot of startup companies in the mentoring capacity, or go a little bit deeper with some as an advisor, which at that point I take equity in the companies and help them to, you know, grow to all expectations or to the highest level that we can. And I need a process for running my office and managing my office. And that includes having other people be able to step in and do the doing that needs to be done every day. And the way that we do that in our office is that everything that we're going to do first has to be documented from the beginning to the end. And there has to be a process for starting, opening the books, our launch campaign. I mean, I could, you know, make this whole long list of all the aspects of starting a business, but every aspect, you know, the financial plan, how are we going to fund it, all needs to be documented. And then we automate it. So what sort of tools, technologies, people do we need to bring into place to automate this documented process so then it can grow?
Yeah.
And you can't grow anything that's not documented or automated. You can't automate anything that's not documented. So basically, the DAG acronym for us is just a starting place for everything that we do. Does that make sense?
It's great. It's great. And so you document all procedures, right, you know, right throughout every little step of your business.
Absolutely. So I talk about, you know, a business is nothing but a collection of micro assets. So advertising is a silo within your business that has a separate function than accounting does.
Yep.
So you have a different set of protocols and decisions that need to be made and actions that need to be taken differently for, you know, that piece. So why they need to work together, they're separate things. So each, let's just stick with advertising, has its own protocol. It has its own documentation process. Because I'm going to hire an advertiser, not an accounting person, to go in the advertising department. And when they show up, they need to know what to do.
Correct.
So we have a process that we can share with an intern and launch a product. And they know when social media comes into play, what we're measuring. Every micro asset is a part of a bigger business. Because when you're done, if the business is completely automated, that's what people are willing to sell. And let's face it, we're not all going to live forever, and most of us don't want to work forever. And at someday we want to be able to sell our business. And you know, I'm buying a business right now that's way undervalued because the solo entrepreneur built a successful business around himself, but he documents nothing. He can't tell me which clients, what sales are coming from. I can see the sales. I can look at his taxes. I know there's money.
Yep.
but he doesn't know where it's coming from. In an accounting system, I know who my client is, how much they spend, what the frequency is they are. I know what their birthdays are. I'm sending them birthday cards and anniversary cards. And so those are all micro assets that we build to communicate to our audience. To get back to point, when it comes to the end of the day, if you have a $1 million company, but it's all based on you, nobody's going to pay $1 million for it. They're going to undervalue it and pay you what they think it's worth based on what they can do with it.
Right.
If you have a complete process that you can go away, somebody else can step in, it's worth $1 million. So all of those micro assets have to be on an automated loop so that you can do them when you're not there.
That's great. Have you got any tips for people actually who aren't necessarily documenters getting all of this down?
I would say commit to every time you find that you're having a problem that repeats itself over and over and over again, think about what's causing the problem, and then create a solution to that problem that you don't have to solve it anymore.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I think for a lot of us, probably more than anything, it's finding the time to sit down and actually just write it out, because any procedure could take an hour, 2 hours to to step through. So it's probably as much about finding the time, finding the willingness and the time to do it.
Yeah, I would say that it is definitely not something that you do over lunch. Because let's face it, we're all doing something, whether it's working or not working. And if something's not working, I try to put there's two buckets. It either works or it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, you fix it.
Yeah.
If it's working, you can leave it alone, or when you have time, you can improve it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a challenge to say I don't have time to fix it. But I would then say, what's it costing you to have it not be fixed? What's it costing you in grief, stress, lost sales, inability to hire somebody to solve the problem because you can't communicate to them what the problem is?
Yeah.
There is a cost to things not working within a business. And as an entrepreneur, you have to fix them. So you have to find the time to do it. And I think really in our company, especially the Coach for Life brand, we always start at the end. Where do you want to be at the end of your life? What is your vision for your life? What's the purpose for your life? What do you really want your life to be filled with? In one of our tags is get, do, and have more of what's important to you. Because if your business isn't producing, the results you need it to produce to get more life or more time or more money or more freedom, then it's not working. So once you identify where you want to go, then you can start looking at the little things and fixing them one at a time. Because when you're measuring against something, it's much easier to track it, report on it, fix it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I actually really like what you said as well, just one step at a time. It doesn't have to be a whole overhaul. You can just look at the bit that's not working and fix that, then go to the next one. You don't have to spend 2 weeks doing your whole business.
Yeah, I say it all the time. We're looking for progress, not perfection.
Yeah, it's great.
It's what can I do right now that's going to move me measurably closer to my goal?
So once somebody has documented a particular area of their business, how do you move into the automation stage?
Okay, so let me just give you an example. Right now, we're documenting the process of vetting freelancers.
Yep.
So our starting point was, okay, we have a bottleneck in our web development, our digital media, our content creation. How are we going to solve that problem? Well, we don't want to go out and hire a bunch of people, and we don't trust Elance or Odesk or Fiverr, all these random, I don't want to say random, these business models that have a bunch of random people in there that I have to either take a chance and have it not work maybe 3 or 4 times before I find somebody that works. So we created a spreadsheet where we search and research companies that are particular to a problem that we're trying to solve. Let's say whiteboarding or the cartooning videos. I mean, we're doing that right now. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yep.
So we go through LinkedIn, social platforms. We suck in all of the social proof that we can, and then we start screening the clients. So we send them a test project. We send them an email. We offer them an opportunity to bid or quote or recommend something. And really quickly, you can tell when somebody doesn't respond to an email for 10 days, I don't want to do business with them.
Right.
But basically, we have a vetting process for sucking people in,
Yep.
putting them on a spreadsheet, sending them something, and everybody gets the same thing. So it's not like we're repeating these personal emails or projects. So we send them to all of them, and then all of a sudden, you know, a list of 50 gets down to a list of 10.
Yeah.
And then I'll get on the phone or on Skype, or Trina, my assistant, will get on, and we have a conversation with them.
Yep.
And then out of that, we get maybe 2 or 3. And then out of those 2 or 3, we give a test project. And at the end of it, we now have a new vendor, if you will, or freelancer or service provider.
That's fully vetted and tested.
And then once that person is fully vetted,
yeah,
we then already have a documented process that tells everybody who we are, what we do, what we expect, and the parameters of what that relationship is going to look like. They read it, sign it, and send it back to us. And that, you know, so they have, sometimes we require, like a content creator has to read my books and my blogs and write something back so that we know that we've read them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So even before we're putting our name on their work, if that makes sense,
yeah,
they have to have an understanding of who we are,
yeah,
and what we do and what we're trying to accomplish. And all that stuff is already done. So now we're vetting a list. The list is then going to find out who we are, what we expect, already done. And here in short order, we're going to have a list of approved, you know, online marketing service companies to do multiple levels of service for us, from content creation to SEO to web development to video creation. Does it make sense?
Bada ba bing, it's automated.
Yeah, but it's all a process, and then we can repeat it into every little thing. That document that we use to share with potential freelancers, we've used, you know, probably 50 times in the last year. And
with all different areas of service.
Yes.
Yeah.
The basis of who we are, what we do, and what we want to accomplish never changes. It's always the same, no matter what the service area we're trying to go into. So instead of trying to spend the time to write the emails, communicate individually one at a time, the work is already done. So anytime we decide we want to do something, we reach into our repository of documented and automated pieces that we now want to grow with somebody else's solution.
Wicked.
Yeah, but it takes time. I mean, you know, it's that, is the pain enough to make me realize that I really need to do something? Or is the pain going to keep me from getting to where I want to be in 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, 20 years? Yeah. You know, if you can't take the time to build your business in a way that anybody can come in, and that's where I talk about growth-oriented companies are really in the startup phase. Many of our clients have been mega successful running a service company,
yeah,
but there's no value to the company. As soon as the owner's gone, the company goes, yeah. And that is sad.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about this on our last call, but I would say the number one problem for my clients is succession plans. They just don't know how the game ends.
Yeah, great.
And how do you get people to be passionate about playing your game? How do you get the employees to move from, you know, being a grunt or a mercenary into a raving fan? You know, you have to give them something to believe in that's more than just a job to go to every day. And the way they do that is they see the vision. But if it's in your head,
yeah,
your employees have nothing to adopt or to buy into, to believe in, have hope in, you know, that they're going to have a future there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just have to stress, you know, go back to what do you want in the end and build to that end day one. Or, you know, what do they say? The best time to plant an oak tree is 100 years ago. The next best time is today. If you're running $100,000 a year company
Yeah.
and you're making money, but all your experience is, grief and frustration, just doing it every day, and no joy, no happiness, and no end in sight, the only person that's going to bring end is you as the owner. It's all right here on your shoulders. If you want something different, you've got to do something different.
So what would you say to the people who say, that's great for you, Philip, but that's not going to work for me? Or, I don't know how to don't know how to document it. Nobody could do what I do. What do you say to those people?
I would say that's the manager talking.
Yeah.
The entrepreneur would never say that. As the visionary in your company, you have to be looking at the future. And if the future is more of what already doesn't work, that's just somebody who's living in the present, trying to manage everything that's going on right here, and trying to justify their position as the manager, not as the entrepreneur. And I would say, good luck with that. Because the fact of the matter is your competitor down the street, may call you up tomorrow, and you're going to introduce them into all of the, what I call, tools for removing the roadblocks of complexity on their path to freedom.
Yeah.
And you're going to work with them, and they're going to start sucking into their client list, and then that quick.
Yeah.
Because the experience they deliver is going to be automated and super easy, and it's way going to exceed what an individual who's just doing it is. And I feel sorry for those people, because most of them have left a job or a career,
right,
to get away from the tyranny of the job, or the tyranny of the boss, or the hope of more financial freedom. And if all they're doing is living in this space of running their business, they're never going to experience those things that they wanted. And that's a sad story.
Yeah.
Go back and get a job. It probably will be less stressful. You'll make more money and not have all the grief that you have when you go home.
Yeah. And not that 24/7 thinking about it.
Yeah. The Japanese actually have a word for it, karoshi, and it's death by overwork. And it's senseless. There's no need for it. If you build a micro asset and you document it and automate it, you give it to somebody else and you go play golf.
Fantastic.
And hopefully with the prospect.
and like, you've had so many years of experience, and I imagine a lot of this you didn't do perfectly back in the beginning. This is, part of your evolution and development. But what do you think has been your biggest challenges for yourself, Philip?
Recognizing my strengths, recognizing my weaknesses, and letting somebody else do my weaknesses.
Yeah, it's great.
I talked in the beginning about, that ego, and I'm the entrepreneur, it's my company, everybody's looking for me for the answers. I have to have all the answers. Well, the bottom line is I don't. I have to lead. I have to have a vision for where I want to go, for what I want my company to produce, and how we're going to produce it.
Yeah.
And then I have to be able to share that story with the people behind me so that they know how to deliver that.
Yeah.
And I'm not good at the execution part. I can look at a business and find problems and holes. I can do it. And for myself, it all comes when I'm working in my weaknesses.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I'm an experiential learner. So I tell everybody that I've done it wrong 3 times, everything. And it's kind of true. But at the same time, I think that's what makes my voice so powerful, and why people are willing to listen and pay for it, is because I have been there and done that.
Like, really? You've really been there?
I've ran nine service companies at the same time. Insanity.
Yeah.
With no office infrastructure. Because when I first started out, I saw office documentation and automation as being expense. I only wanted to have employees billing, because everything in the office was an expense. And oh my gosh, it is so not a healthy way to run a business. You have to build, nobody wants a bureaucracy, but everybody needs a certain amount of bureaucracy for a business to grow.
Right.
Even if you're a solo entrepreneur, there needs to be a certain amount of, we don't need to be getting too far down the road. But yeah, work in your strengths and let other people work in their strengths. You want to get them engaged and passionate about your business. So you cast your vision and share where you're going. And if somebody adopts it, you've got great employees. I mean, people tell me all the time, well, I just can't find any good people. And I'm going, well, it's because you're not communicating your vision to them. Because when people realize that they're, changing the world, or at least changing the way carpets are being cleaned, or, laws being practiced, they can become impassioned about it themselves.
Yeah, and own it and feel part of that ecosystem.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's what
I have
everybody
another
wants.
friend. He goes, you're not after their time, you're not after their money, you're after their hearts.
Yeah.
And if you can get somebody to give you your heart, they're a client forever, they're an employee forever, and everybody's happy.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful way to look at building a business. So Phil, just in closing, I ask people, what has been one of the best business books that you've read so far? And you don't have to name one, but just something that we can go away and follow up on.
Man.
I know you have a library in your head.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give two answers, and they're on different ends of the spectrum. One is more a spiritual, physical book, and that's called Tony Schwartz, and I can't remember the other guy's name right off the top of my head. Managing Energy, Not Time.
Yeah.
And
so you, isn't it?
It is a great starting point for starting to think about how we emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually are humans, and how much energy we bring to everything that we're doing. And if one of those areas is out of balance, they sort of all are out of balance. And that's sort of a basis for part of our coaching program.
Yep.
We don't really deal with, marketing or advertising or sales or bookkeeping. We're sort of a holistic, find out where people are and help them get where they want to be. And there are people in our community that are ahead of them, and there are people that are behind them. And so we sort of work together to work through those roadblocks as we hit them as a group by teaching all of these elements. So that book, Managing Energy, Not Time, it's some version of that, Tony Schwartz. And then honestly, the E-Myth.
Yeah.
Michael Gerber. I mean, I've met Michael 3 times, sat down with him once and had a really long conversation. Brilliant man. He puts in real simple terms, not a how-to book, but a structure for you to start thinking about creating a framework for each part of your business and creating a vision for your life so that your business will produce what you want out of your life, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's 2 good books.
That's great. We can run out and get those. And who is your guru?
Wait a second. I forgot.
What?
I got a great book, F Words for Startups. Anyway, I'm sure Trina's going to send you an offer link, and we're going to give away a couple of books. But
so that's definitely one.
Absolutely. So go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted.
So the last question for today, who's your guru, Philip?
Who's my guru? So that changes with time based on what I need.
Yeah.
So I would say for the last 2 years, I've been working with he who won't be named. His name is Rajesh, and he's an amazing guy and is my confidant, my mentor at the moment. To give you an example, Tony Robbins has a mentor.
Yeah.
And Tony Robbins mentors my mentor's mentor.
Oof. So,
I mean, I would love to say his name, but the problem is there's too many people are seeking him out and he doesn't have time. We
could call him Prince.
Just call him Raj.
And give him a symbol.
There you go. Yeah. So, I mean, we always have to have people like that. Now, I have lots of mentors that I'm working with on a regular basis, but, and I'm in a coaching community. I would say Joe Polish's Genius Network is a great place.
Great.
for somebody to invest time. Dan Sullivan, strategic coach. I recommend him all of the time, and like in 2 of my books, I've recommended. If I wanted to recommend a coach to somebody, who would it be? And Dan Sullivan's got a great program.
Yeah.
So I believe in immersion, in learning by those that have gone ahead, and I absolutely recommend it for everybody that's listening to this. You're doing the right thing. You're taking the time to educate yourself on the things that you need to learn to think about differently, and then
Yeah.
get the tools so that you can succeed in whatever areas are lacking in your business or life. Yeah.
That's right. And there's so many aspects and facets, to life, business, and how we approach it. So thanks, Phil, for shedding more light on, the DAG process. Like I'm a fully fledged DAG from now on, and I hope, there'll be more viewers who are as well. And I thank you so much for your time with us today.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for asking. And your client should know that you have somebody that's cares about you enough to take the time to reach out to somebody she found in the U.S. that met a profile that could hopefully create some value for you. So you're in the right place when you're definitely working with you. So all my best to you and your clients as well, because I know you care about them.
Thank you. And everybody can get in touch with Philip by the link that's on the page below.
Yeah.
So thanks so much, Philip.
Okay, well, take care, Kim, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks. Bye-bye.